Hi, thanks for watching. 42 days and 42 years. My name's Tate, and I'm sharing my life with you. I can remember of age 4, I had 2 brothers. My little brother, he was almost 2 years younger than me. His name was Chuck. I had a brother 2 years older than me, and 5 days, and his name was Paul. But his original name was Ken, but it was switched to Paul. And when he got older, which when that time comes I'll tell you, but he switched his name back to Ken. So anyways, I can remember my brother Chuck and Ken, one time Ken got me to pull the fire alarm. Fire trucks came and I'm going crazy outside. Oh, look. We got caught or whatever, I believe at the end, that we pulled the alarm. And they got upset with my mom. This might have actually been, it was age 4, right before my 5th birthday. So I can remember that. I can remember being found naked in a park outside my apartment building. I was basically raped by some guy, and I couldn't remember nothing. So I was drugged up where I couldn't remember, and I blacked out, and then once I woke up, I was walking naked. The other thing I can remember is I used to hit Chuck on the face all the time. Smack him on his face, he'd cry, and then I'd kiss him and say, I love you, please stop crying, and he'd stop crying instantly. And I think I did that because of us always being beaten. And so I don't know why I did it. I was only 4 years old, but we were always being hit, and I guess it made me start hitting. So I'd smack Chuck on the face, he'd cry every time, and then as soon as I kiss him and hug him and say, I love you, he'd stop crying. And when we were beaten with belts, my mom had a boyfriend named Jesse. He also beat us. My father was the kind of guy that would disappear for months and then come back. I believe around this time too, my father robbed a Brinks truck down on Lake Shore, some kind of from the Rabba store. There was one of those machines, and he took it, robbed it, took the money. And my father, he bought my brother a bike, gave my brother a bike, and he used to ride my brother on a motorcycle, my older brother, downstairs and around the parking lot, and I'd sit up on the balcony and watch him riding him around. But my father never took me. And Ken isn't even son of him. Ken had a father from somebody named Paul, and I guess that's why he was called Paul. And he even asked my mother to marry him, and my mother said no. And my mother was given a really big diamond, 1.5 carat diamond ring, and my mom said no at that time. This is before I was born. It's what my mother has told me about that. My father, he didn't really like me. He didn't spend time with me. If there was anything he'd do to me, he'd rape me and beat me with the belt. He didn't like me. And I was his son. So was Chuck. And my father never believed that Chuck was his son. He always thought he belonged to someone else, that my mom was a party person and just slept around with anybody. Yet, really, who are you to judge my father when you were a guy that went out and slept with every hooker and every prostitute and stripper or whatever you get your hands on? As of this day, you married a stripper. You had another kid. But that's time to come in later in my episodes. Just give you an idea what kind of stuff you're going to be watching and what kind of stuff you're going to learn about how people like me can get really, really sick. And this sickness can't be healed. It can only be controlled. And I don't control it by drugs other than marijuana and a little bit of alcohol, but a lot of marijuana. Marijuana's been a cure through my life. Definitely, of many things, which you'll learn later in the episodes of how marijuana has healed me and taken away sicknesses and done so much. Many of you that smoke marijuana might get paranoid. Well, I don't, but I get paranoid when I do any other kind of drugs, so I just don't do those drugs because it's not fun being paranoid. And really inside, deep inside me, I'm not paranoid. I'm a crazy, mentally sick person that would walk in front of a bullet. So, but anyways, to finish off my story of being 4 years old, I can remember my mother visiting me in Children's Aid with my little brother Chuck. She brought me a big stuffed toy that was bigger than me, and little Chuck was running around, hopping around the table with it. And I kept saying, Chuck, Chuck, and my mom would say, Tate, just let him play with it. So I did, and I let him play, and I sat there and talked with my mom. I can remember my father putting cocaine on my mouth. Then I sat back and watching Dracula on TV because I'd cry about my teeth hurting. I can remember going up an elevator in my building with my mom, and I hit her smoke as she was smoking, and my hand got burned. And then my mom put my hand over top of a stove, making me with the heat over top of it to get rid of the pain. And let me tell you, my mom knows these miracle things because it did work. So many of you might think that's crazy, but it's actually a true thing that works. When you're burned by something and then you stick it by heat again, not meaning to burn it more, but you stick it up above the heat a little bit and roll it around as it starts to hurt. And then once you pull your hand away, the pain all goes away. It's like disappeared. So, but I can remember my mom doing that. I can remember babysitters watching us, and then babysitters saying that they were bad or this and that. And then my father or Jesse would come in and beat us with belts. I was always the toughest. I was always the first one to stop crying. And it's, yeah, we'd be beaten. That was our life. Beat, and give the drugs, make them high and make them calm down. Or at least me. I don't know about other ones, but when they give me cocaine, it made me freeze. So I'd sit on a chair, and I was a wound up kid, and I'd run around everywhere and do things. And so they, you know, the other thing I can remember too is I used to go to nursery school. And at 4 years old, I'd walk to nursery school all by myself. And every day I passed the grocery store, I go inside and I started eating grapes. Yum, 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 eat grapes. They're all piled there like it's free to take. I didn't know better. I didn't know about money and buying stuff. So I'd go in there and I'd eat grapes until the manager would chase me out the door. And then one day my mother was in the grocery store with me, and the manager recognized me and told my mother off and says, "Your son ever comes in here again and eats my grapes, I'll never come in here again, none of you. Or I'll charge you," or whatever it was. And he told my mother off so hard. And so that's pretty much what I can remember of age 4. being really young, it's still hard to remember everything. Actually, I remember something else as I'm thinking about it. As I went to nursery school one day, there were tons of bees circling around the swing set at my nursery school. And tons of them just circling and circling, and all the kids were looking like, bees, bees. And Mr. Me, brave boy, I went over and said, watch me kill him. And I went over and went, chomp. Ah! And I just started crying and crying and crying. And they brought me into the nursery school, and started doing all the medical care and putting ice on my hand and everything else to get rid of the pain, whatever it was that they were doing. And I can remember that too, getting stung by a whole bunch of bees. I don't know how many I smacked in my hand, but they all stung me, and it hurt. I can still feel it today, being 42 years old now, and remember what that was like. But yeah, so that's age 4. So thanks for watching. Please come back again tomorrow. And please subscribe. Share this with as many people as you can. If you know somebody that's struggling really, really bad and going through a hard time in their life, then please, I think this is a great thing for them to watch. Because I don't think many people have ever lived the kind of suffering and pain that I have. I don't say that I'm the only one, but I don't think my life could even compare to somebody who went and fought in war for 2 years, and then they call them a soldier. And yet, I'm not allowed to call myself a soldier, because I didn't fight in the war for the government. But I lived through a war. My whole life is a war. So God bless you all. And please continue watching my story, my life. And if anybody out there can ever come to help me in a good way, then please do. Because I do need help. I need to be loved. I need to be cared for too, just like all of you. Because love's what keeps us alive. And the only love I really have right now are my 3 dogs. And without them, I wouldn't be alive. I'd be dead. I would have robbed the Brinks truck. I would have been the richest man in Canada. I would have killed many people. I wouldn't have cared. I would have killed myself. But my dogs, I love them more than anything. And that's why I always have 3 dogs. Because when one goes, if the other one goes, and there's one left, it might not be strong enough to keep me going. It might not be enough that I wouldn't give up. So, anyways, again, guys, God bless you all. You take care. Right now, we're struggling through a COVID-19. And I'm holding up a sign in Toronto. Says, desperate needs for desperate times. Please stay this far apart. And I'm holding up a net that's more than 6 feet long. And I've been charged by a cop for that. And charged for my dogs being around a tree with a less than 3 meter leash. And their leash is more than 3 meters. And because my dogs choose to sit up against a tree, or because they circle it, doesn't mean a cop sitting in a car 25 feet away or watching me from 100 feet away or 200 feet away with a zoom camera gives him a right to come in and give me these papers and charge me for soliciting a person in a car, or for saying that my dogs are tethered with less than 3 meters. And then after he handed me the papers, I still showed him and said, "Are you kidding me?" I said, "Look." And I showed him my dogs loosen off the tree and move away. And my dogs had way more than 3 meters. And what did he did? He gave me an ugly look and just drove away. Is that what kind of people are really here, running our country, where your job is to serve and protect? And I'm a guy that needs help, and you don't serve me, you don't protect me, but you harass me. You come out and you guys punish me and do anything to make my life more misery and more miserable and depressing than it ever was. When you get charged for these things, your charges for court are a year later. So that's a year of my life that's held back because I don't want to be here. I don't want to be in Canada. I don't even want to be in this world. But only God chooses when the time is for me to leave. You criminals, you gangsters, you organized criminal cops. You don't choose when my life is gonna go. Only God chooses it. For many of you have tried so many times. I wonder sometimes if I'm a cat or not. If I have 9 lives. If that's it, then I think so far I've used about 3 or 4 lives so far. And I still have 5 more left. So, anyways, guys, God bless you. Please hit the subscribe button. Share this with as many people as you can. If somebody's struggling, somebody is hurt, and somebody wants to give up their life, and somebody doesn't want to go anymore, then share this, because this may help them and may show them that there is a future for them. And it's not worth killing yourself. There's something else up there. And if you do something like that, you ain't gonna get there. Remember, as I said, this is a game. We're all playing a game. So let's make it to the finish line. God bless you all. I'll see you tomorrow.